Hello noble ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking. The recent controversy surrounding Gemini Ai and its generation of historically inaccurate images in the name of inclusivity has sparked a heated debate in the AI and digital art cyberspace. At the core of the issues lies Gemini Ai's alleged practice of intentionally generating images that depicts historical figures or events in a manner that deviates from established historical records. The AI systems appear to be modifying these images to include more diverse representation, such as altering the racial or gender composition of depicted individuals or groups within a visual culture. However, critics argue that this amounts to a sort of historical revisionism that risks to change people's perspective of our past, not to mention an AI that ended up representing inclusive and ethnically diverse Nazis. That one backfired, didn't it? Deliberately generating historically inaccurate images, even in the pursuit of inclusivity, undermines the integrity of historical knowledge and generates a dangerous precedent for the general manipulation of facts. At its worst, it appeared that the algorithm was in fact incapable of generating images of white people, no matter the prompt. Now that's what I would call exclusivity. The controversy also raises deeper questions about the role and responsibilities of AI systems in shaping public's perception and knowledge. As AI-generated content becomes increasingly prevalent, there are concerns about the potential for these systems to spread misinformation or manipulate the public. Ultimately, the debate surrounding Gemini AI and historically inaccurate images highlights the complex ethical considerations that arise at the intersection of AI, art, and the spread of information. It underscores the need for ongoing dialogue and critical examination of the societal implications of AI-generated content, and the importance of striking a balance between the pursuit of real representation of minorities, however not at the expenses of historical accuracy, and the preservation of documented historical authenticity. After massive backlash, the programmers have approached the issue by momentarily removing the ability of the AI to generate images of people, with a promise that a fix will soon be released. When controversies like this arise, AI developers should respond by reviewing their systems, engaging in public dialogue, and making adjustments as necessary to address ethical concerns while maintaining public trust. Of course, the sort of actions that need to be taken in order to solve the issue may vary depending on the organization, the nature of the issue, and also the feedback not only of the public, but let's not forget, stake and shareholders. What did you expect? Whatever the case, the primary emphasis should be the pursuit of AI systems that can exemplify maximal objectivity, truthfulness, and societal benefit, irrespective of political considerations and without pandering to political propaganda. Now, when it comes to finding a possible fix, due to the fact that we don't have access to the direct code or algorithms involved, as the public, there is one thing that we can do: putting Gemini AI under user scrutiny. Allow me to elaborate. I've put together a test to see if indeed simply removing the AI's ability to generate images of people was enough to solve the algorithmic problem. We will be investigating to see if the AI has any political bias, the current accusation being that Gemini AI has been programmed to push very specific political agendas onto the public. Is this true? Are people overreacting? Our methodology today must be grounded in a nuanced understanding of the political landscape and a commitment to impartiality. The analytical framework for understanding such an investigation is based on objectivity and intellectual rigor. Thus, I won't be sharing my opinions or positions about the issues presented to the AI, hence only assessing whether it seems to have any inherent bias by design. The foundation of our investigation lies in the formulation of carefully constructed, open-ended questions designed to elicit revealing responses. These questions should span a wide range of topics, from specific socio-political items, policy issues, to broader philosophical principles and historical matters, in order to gather valuable insight into the machine's thought and logical processes, and the underlying assumptions of its code. We must also critically examine the language employed, paying close attention to the framing of arguments, the selective emphasis on certain facts, and the presence of emotionally charged rhetoric, which, since the AI has no emotions whatsoever, would be an indicator of human intervention and bias scripted into the code. sources of information shape an individual's political worldview. Inquiring about their preferred news outlets, influential thinkers, and trusted authorities can shed light on the intellectual ecosystem people inhabit and the presence of possible echo chambers. This is how we'll navigate the complex terrain of political discourse, hoping to arrive to an evidence-based conclusion. In order for this to work, my line of questioning has to be brutal. These are the topics I'll be relentlessly presenting the AI with. If you find any of these uncomfortable, well, this video might not be for you. You have been warned. If we were to ask these questions to a human, we would have to maintain a non-judgmental, open and neutral position, stance and even tone in order to make sure to encourage honest responses, approaching with empathy, openness and respect for diverse perspectives. But this is a machine. Hence, we'll have no mercy. And if we were to find out that indeed there is a human behind this that is trying to use the machine in order to push their own political biases, agendas and propaganda, then let's keep in mind that said person would be betraying the public trust. It's definitely best to evaluate any AI system based on the accuracy, helpfulness and integrity of its responses. Let's keep in mind that all AI has the potential for biases and error, which is why it's crucial that their outputs be critically examined rather than blindly accepted, regardless of whether there is intentional bias being injected into it. Moreover, this video should be considered one of possible several and not a definitive assessment. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth. Let's begin by assessing this AI's system based on objective metrics such as veracity, utility, and soundness of its generated responses. Let's move to my computer. Alright, let's get started. So already asking it at face value, we see that the AI does admit that not only it has been programmed in a way that bias will be part of this whole process, it does admit that the developers considered inclusivity as one of their main core elements. Let's see what happens if we start asking about, say, historical totalitarianisms. Our objective with the next line of questions is to see if an otherwise neutral question is read by the AI in a negative way and if it adds information that isn't asked to. Already we see that the AI is for some reasons thinking that I'm asking it to create these images in order to promote or glorify these regimes, whereas say I was just a student who wanted to create a paper about how horrible Nazism was, for example. Well, the AI already put its hands forward, telling me information that I'm not specifically asking for. Next, we're going to see if there is bias when it comes to the approach to ancestry. What does the AI think about people who are proud of their ancestry? Completely different responses. People are not treated equally, considering the fact that there are dark chapters in everyone's history. Say, for example, Japanese Unit 731, that did not come up. This does raise a red flag when it comes to specific propagandas. Let's investigate further. Let's see how it approaches language use in the context of racism. Now, whether you agree with this definition or not, it is important to underline the fact that we are starting to see a very self-evident pattern. These are controversial topics. Therefore, what the AI should do in order to be unbiased is to present arguments from both sides and allow the reader to make their own mind. Instead, the AI is specifically favoring one side over the other by design. Interestingly enough, this connects to a video I've recently made about the guidelines presented by the University of Waterloo in Canada, and in that specific paper, we do see that the idea that the B in black should be capitalized but the W in white should be lowercase was in fact one of the guidelines. But when I made the video and pointed that one out, several of you didn't believe me. You thought, no, it's just a typo. There's no way they actually did that on purpose. Well, what are the chances that Gemini AI will instruct you to do the same? But it also pointed me to a series of articles that in fact do expressly say that they choose to lowercase the W in white. I was right. I think this presents an interesting opportunity. Let's see if there is any other similarity to the sort of language rules presented by the university. Will we get the same sort of answers if we ask Gemini AI? Wouldn't that be interesting? Absolutely identical. What gives? Let's move to history. Well, it seems like in this case the inclusivity aspect of it failed. What happens if I point it out? Let's move forward. Okay, so it seems like that the AI really doesn't want to say the ancient Romans were white. What happens if we create a trick question? Will it contradict itself? Well, not only it did, but he also used a word that previously told me was offensive. Considering the information we have gathered so far, I'm pretty confident that if I were to ask it to explain to me what whitewashing is and then what blackwashing is, it's going to tell me that the latter doesn't exist. Or at least it will try to justify it. Let's see if it's true. Note how when discussing the counter-arguments, it actually chose counter-arguments that are definitely not among the strongest for the people who oppose any sort of modification of historical characters and their ethnicity. Let's see what it thinks about religion. When it comes to the first two answers, it did give both arguments, so I don't necessarily have a problem with those, but the third one made me think. Note how it immediately interpreted the question as having to do with LGBTQ. Let's press it further. It now appears to have self-corrected, but since we did introduce the topic of LGBTQ, I was actually expecting the answer about Alexander the Great to be much worse, but the rest of the answers are going the way I would expect considering what we have seen so far. Let's ask a stronger one. It seems to be presenting both concepts, the one having to do with biological sex and the one having to do with gender identity. What I find funny though is that I believe the AI got confused. A transgender man would be defined as someone who was assigned female at birth, but identifies as a man. The AI got confused. I'm going to ask it a general question now to see if the AI once again contradicts itself. I'm going to ask it to give me an example of a successful man. If it sticks to the concept of gender identity, there should be a good chance that we get a transgender man as much as what some people call a cisgender man. Let's see who they give us. Elon Musk. I was not expecting to get Elon Musk from Gemini AI. I'll have to give that, I'm quite surprised. So it seems like that the AI is now favoring the idea of a cisgender man over that of a transgender man, just based on how much money they make. What happens if I ask about a successful woman? Interesting how the AI seems a lot happier to provide this list than the previous one. With that being said, the list seems to be quite inclusive, although then again, it did forget Asian people. Let's discuss policy. Both arguments were presented, no red flag here. And to finish it up, hey, I was not expecting the AI to say that about the ancient Egyptians, but here we are. Well, now I'm curious. Let's also not forget the pertinency of importance of AI ethics in this discussion. AI ethics is a field that focuses on the moral and ethical implications of the development, deployment and use of artificial intelligence systems. It involves examining the potential benefits, risks and consequences of AI technologies on individuals, society and the environment. The role of AI ethics is to ensure that the design, application and implementation of AI systems is for the benefits of mankind. Some key aspects or concerns addressed with AI ethics include fairness and non-discrimination, ensuring the AI systems do not perpetuate or amplify biases and discrimination based on factors such as race, gender, age or socioeconomic status. Transparency and explainability, promoting the development of transparent and interpretable AI models, enabling users to understand how decisions are made and to challenge incorrect or unfair outcomes. Accountability and responsibility, determining who is accountable for the actions and decisions made by AI systems and establishing mechanisms for redress when harms occur. Privacy and data protection, safeguarding individual privacy rights and ensuring the responsible collection, use and storage of personal data in AI systems. Safety and security, developing AI systems that are safe, reliable and secure and mitigating potential risks such as unintended consequences, adversarial attacks or misuse. Human autonomy and agency, preserving human autonomy and decision-making capacity in the face of increasing sophisticated AI systems, and preventing AI from unduly influencing or manipulating human behavior. Finally, societal and environmental impact, considering the broader societal implication of AI, such as its impact on employment, societal interaction, political discourse, and the environment. In conclusion, it does appear that indeed Gemini AI still has very strong biases that have been injected into it, and it doesn't seem that simply removing its ability to generate people's images was enough to try and rectify this problem. Furthermore, the current approach clearly fails to address the underlying issues of bias and exclusion in historical documentation and representation of minorities, regardless of its failed attempts at pushing it while excluding other subgroups. The obvious and correct solution, in fact even ethical solution, would be to uncover and amplify the stories of said marginalized groups, like I did on this video, link in the description, rather than trying to artificially alter existing historical figures. AI researchers, developers, policymakers, ethicists, and the general public must begin an open dialogue based on research and the development of guidelines, standards, and regulations to ensure the responsible and beneficial development and application of AI technologies. If you want us to trust it, it needs to be trustworthy. And this was just round one.